Hey there! Thanks for tuning into Duckbricks. I'm Chris, and, well, it's Nidhiki time because I am so excited to announce that we are launching, after a long wait, after a long break, the Nidhiki Bionicle Fanon contest is launching right now, which means at this moment you can go to the description. There is a Google Doc with all the rules and the link to enter your submissions linked below, and I can't wait to see all of your entries. So let's rewind a bit. What exactly are these, in case this is your first time seeing this video? Well, so far we have been running a series of Bionicle Fanon contests, which are meant to depict characters in the lore that never actually got an official depiction, whether a drawing or a set, and actually create a mock for them in a massive mock and artwork contest. So we are running mock and art simultaneously. For those who are familiar with the Bionicle Fanon contest, the rules are basically the same as pretty much all the other ones. You can see the past winners right here. This was the winner of the first one, Toa Nidhiki by Bucky, and Nidhiki is going to look so good next to this group. I'm so excited to have the trio here because obviously we have the mutated spider-like version of Nidhiki right here, but I think it's going to look really good with the Toa version standing alongside some of the main members of the Toa manga right there. Now, there have been a lot of really fun contests over the past few months, actually. We did a Zombies on the Red Star contest for Halloween. We did a Dinosaurs of Bota Magna contest. Of course, we did a Lariska contest, and for those waiting, I promise that review is coming. I really just have 1,000 other things to build and review, but the moment that I get a chance, I will be putting out that review. And of course, we kick things off with Toa, making this the 5th Nidhiki contest, or the 5th Fanon contest for Toa Nidhiki by popular demand. You actually voted for what the next topic of the contest would be. We held a massive poll over the course of the entire running time of the previous contest, where I asked you to vote and determine what would be the next topic of the next Fanon contest, and by overwhelming majority, everybody wanted to do a contest for Toa Nidhiki. I think it makes sense, too, that the main character contest that we've done, being Toa, Lariska and Nidhiki, actually are a sort of trio in and of themselves. They're all kind of connected. They all factored into the same story serials for the most part. So I think it makes sense to have this be the next Fanon contest before we move on to bigger, greater, and potentially shinier things in the future. And that's a sneak peek for what the next one will probably be once a few parts are pending being updated on Bricks and Pieces on Lego.com. But now, without further ado, I know that everybody is so excited to hear about what the prizes are, but of course, that will be kept to the end of the video, so I mean, you could just skip to the end right now if you wanted to, or you could stay and listen to the rules, because if you haven't done one of these contests before, I would highly recommend you check out the rules. Every contest, there's always a few people who don't understand how to submit. Again, the only way to submit is by going through the Google form. You can't submit an entry by just like tagging me on Instagram or DMing it to me, because I get hundreds of DMs, to be honest, from all around the LEGO community, and it's really hard to keep track of them. You have to use the link in the description below to submit. Every single contest, there's like a couple people that miss that, so I just really want to make it clear, the only way to submit for the contest is with the Google Forms link down below. But without further ado, let's just get right into the rules. I have been waiting to announce this, and I'm so excited to reveal the prizes at the end of this video, so stay tuned and keep watching. Let's go! Okay, let's walk through this document so we can go through the rules very quickly. I know that this is going to be a repeat for a lot of folks who have done many of the other 4 Fanon contests we've done so far, but again, I just want to go over the rules every single time, just so everybody can know how it works. So first of all, there is a running tally of entries document, which is linked on the very first page. As you can see, it is basically a slideshow that will show the mock by whoever made it, and a link to breakdown photos as well as the image. This will be public and will be updated basically whenever we get a chance to, so if you don't see your entry here, that does not mean that we haven't gotten your entry. It sometimes can take weeks for an entry to appear on this document, just depending on all of our schedules. We have a really great team of folks who are helping out with the contest and helping populate documents and go through entries and make sure that they're good to go, but we also all have other lives and jobs outside of this, so my apologies if things take some time to appear on the running tally of entries document, but they will all be there eventually. If you do not see your entry by the time that entry periods close, do let us know, because then maybe something got missed and we'll definitely go through and check that. First of all, thank you to Sonova32 for designing this graphic for the Fanon Contest 5. It looks really, really good. He puts a lot of work into making these. He did them for the, I believe, 3rd and 4th Fanon Contest as well, so big, big thank you. Sonova has been someone who's entered, I think, almost every single contest so far, so that really means a lot. Thank you for your support, and let's go into the main rules. So, welcome to the 5th LEGO Bionicle Community Fanon Contest, which is centered on Toa Nidhiki. So essentially the goal of this contest is to present either a mock or a piece of artwork in any style that is your depiction of the former Toa manga of heir Nidhiki in his pre-mutated form. Much like many of the other contests, we've basically tried to make as few restrictions as possible. This is a Fanon and not a canon contest after all, so you can do pretty much anything in a free-for-all entry period. Physical entries with official LEGO parts, digital entries via any sort of digital LEGO building platform, art entries, you want to do painted, hand-drawn, digitally drawn, whatever you want, 3D printed elements as long as they have publicly available digital files for free. So if you paid for a 3D model or print, they are not allowed to be used in the contest. Really, that's just there to prevent people from, say, specifically, if they want to rebuild the winning mock, then they would have to purchase something from somebody else. We're trying to avoid having to do that, so the 3D models that are used do have to be available for free. There's like 4 or 5 different Voltacs that you can use online that are for free on Thingiverse, so hopefully it won't be that big of a problem. Custom elements. And again, generally you can cut or glued, but these are also meant to be physically recreated if a mock were to win, so I'd recommend keeping them to a minimum, but we aren't going to be stopping you from doing stuff like that. Excessive clipping and impossible builds on studio models, the same works there because that means that it would be impossible to build in real life. I guess you could 3D print a cluster of pieces, but really, the intent is to make things physically possible to build. Really, beyond that, there are no other restrictions. These are just the same rules as we've had for every single Fanon contest, so we should be good to go. So let's get into exactly what the rules are for Nidhiki, and this is very simple. He must be 1, a Toa of air, wearing some amount of green armor, that's 2, any shade of green is acceptable. That is the most important thing. You can use any shade of green, and he has to wield whatever you want to imagine to be an air scythe. That is his official weapon. You can design it literally any way you want. If it kind of looks like a scythe, go for it. I really don't think we're going to be super strongly also critiquing this. I guess if you give him like a sword or something that blatantly isn't a scythe, then maybe we would say something, but really it's just go crazy. The point of this contest is to be creative, and it is really just however you want to interpret his weapon. Also keep in mind that while we won't be actually really policing these so hard, the voters will. So the voters will probably pick which ones they determine to be the most canon. So if you don't give him a scythe, maybe we won't care, but the voters will, and you might not get voted for. He also must wear the Kanohi Voltac, the Mask of Stealth, in some form. There is the official set version, which was introduced for Toa Niparu in the Toa Mari 2007 wave, or a custom version created by 3D modelers, as long as, again, the file needs to be publicly available. If you do not own a Voltac or you do not own a 3D printer, placeholder masks are totally okay as long as you make a note of it in the submission form. I will actually showcase that in a second here, and I'll just make it very clear it's in the submission form. But be aware that while we will not disqualify entries for not sticking to the Voltac, again, voters may be inclined to support the most adherent to canon entry. So if you submit a Toa Nidhiki wearing a How or wearing no mask at all, people might not vote for it over a Nidhiki that does have a Voltac. And there are a couple of, in my opinion, somewhat affordable ways to get masks. So for instance, I run a big cartel store, it is linked in the description below, where I've listed pretty much every single mask I could find online for the Voltac. If you did 3D model a mask and don't see it here, just message me. I think there are a couple of people who did that, but I didn't get around to adding them to the storefront, but I know that some people have designed other types of Voltacs, definitely want to get them done. I've got a couple of options. We have a more high quality version, which is resin printed. The reason why it's more expensive is it takes me a while to custom mix the dark green resin. It is, again, not a perfect match. It is not a perfect match to LEGO's dark green. It is as close as possible as I could get, so my apologies if it is not perfect. I mean, as you can see, it's pretty close in my opinion. I'm pretty proud of how it turned out, but it's not perfect. It's not a 100% match, so do keep that in mind. Or you have a slightly cheaper version, which is just printed with dark green PLA, plastic printed. Quality is admittedly not fantastic. I will say that the quality does tend to string a little bit. Of course, you can clean this up if you have like clipper tools and whatnot, you can clean that up, but the main point behind the store is to be quick and dirty. If you want something really fast and really, I guess, well done enough that you can showcase it in the model. I do have the masks available because I did get complaints when we first launched the Fanon contest that it was to an extent gatekeeping people who didn't have 3D printers. So the reason why this service exists and why I'm trying to sell other 3D printed stuff is because I'm trying to make things accessible for folks who do not have 3D printers, so you can go check that out if you want. There are also many more talented, much more talented than me resin casters, many of which have submitted prizes to this very contest, who, if they happen to have a window or maybe happen to do commissions, you could maybe contact them. That is up to them, but I do not do resin casting, I do resin 3D printing, so objectively anything I do will be worse quality than anything that any of the other resin casters will do. However, my stuff is available at pretty much any time, so it really just depends on when you want to get stuff in. And especially for Nidhiki stuff, I am currently backlogged on, I think, hundreds of orders, but I will be prioritizing anybody who specifically orders Nidhiki stuff. Add a comment down below if you're saying you're ordering it for the contest, so I will be sure to prioritize that and get that to you ASAP. Moving on from that, a note on Emerald Armor, because there have been a surprisingly high amount, I mean, maybe not surprising for the Bionicle community, but a surprisingly high amount of debates on what exactly Greg meant by Emerald Armor. Greg has used the word emerald to describe his armor on several occasions. Let me give my point of view. I think this is just a more interesting way of saying green. Like, when he was writing the story, he was like, okay, emerald sounds cooler than green. He does describe it as emerald a lot. A lot of people are saying, okay, well, what exact shade of Lego color does he mean by emerald? I don't think Greg actually paid that much attention to exact shades of Lego colors. I honestly don't think he really cared. And the reason for that is because also we don't want to restrict anything, right? We don't want to disqualify an entry because, oh, it's not this particular shade of green. So literally any shade of green is fine. If you want to make him green and silver, go for it. I know that Greg has explicitly said that he did not have silver armor. However, that is just a suggestion. That basically, along with the rest of the contests, we have suggestions from Greg chats where none of this material appeared in the story. There was no canon story that said Nidhiki did not have dual color silver armor. But he said in the chat, so you can keep it in mind if you want. If you want to keep it as close to canon as possible in terms of also what Greg has said beyond the story has ended, then yeah, don't give him silver armor. But if you think he looks cooler with silver and green armor, by all means go for it. The voters will decide. We have some sources here. Most of them are, actually all of them are from Birth of a Dark Hunter, which was a canon story that was released that details Toa Nidhiki and talks a lot about his appearance. It says he has an air scythe, he has the Kanohi mask of stealth, the Vol attack, and he has emerald armor. So green in some way. Really, the only way that we would actually ask you to maybe retool an entry is if you submit an entry that's completely the wrong color. Like, if you submit a red Toa, then yeah, that's not gonna fly for Toa Nidhiki. But as long as you have green on there somewhere, don't abuse the rule. Like, I mean, okay, don't submit a red Toa with green eye stalks just to be silly. Meme entries will also be disqualified if you're just trying to mess around, but I think we can operate these in good faith. For the most part, people seem to be pretty serious about these contests. Nobody's just doing them to screw around, and people really do want to win, and people want to put their best foot forward. So I would recommend do what you think that people will vote for. Finally, there's just some last minute rules here. There's one category, 4 sets of prizes, which we'll go into at the end of this video. You have to be over 13 years of age to enter, blah, blah, blah. You can read through all the general rules and details here. The final big thing that I know sometimes people miss is you must provide either breakdown photos of the mock, a studio file, or instructions. The goal is to facilitate reverse engineering. I've gotten a lot of questions about this. I've gotten photos of people saying, oh, are these breakdown photos good enough? 9 times out of 10, the answer is yes, as long as you have any sort of breakdown photos. There's a lot of talented people out there in the Bionicle community. I actually sent out prizes to people who reverse engineered stuff from the Dino contest, of which only a few breakdown photos were provided. So as long as you provide like some photos of it, maybe just like front and back and then partially disassembled, it's totally fine. Don't worry about it too much, but yeah, if you could make instructions, it's even better. If you could give a studio file, that's really great, because then you can really see how to put it together there, but it really just depends on what your bandwidth is. We don't want to make you do too much work, so as long as you have some sort of breakdown photos, it will be all totally okay. Finally, how to enter. So this is important. You can submit entries, and we've had some mistakes on these before, so I really just want to make sure this is very clear. You can submit entries on any public platform of the user's choosing. We've gotten a lot of links to private Instagram accounts. Please do not do that, because then we have to DM you, and then wait for you to respond, and then have you resubmit, and it's a whole thing of chasing people down and trying to contact them. The same goes for private Facebook pages, so please just make sure that any platform you upload this on is actually public. Usually 9 times out of 10 we have no problems, but there's always like 5 to 10 entries every single time that give us a private link, so please just be aware of that. You can also submit it on like a Google Docs. I mean, I'll even write it like you can literally put Google Docs/Drive submissions, but again, make sure those are public to us to view, because we will try to contact you if there's an error, but there is no guarantee. We could just miss something. If it's private and you submit it on the day before things end, it's going to be a lot harder for us to chase you down, especially if we want to start voting as soon as possible. So how to submit entries. There's a Google form here where, as you can see, this is the Toa Nidhiki Bionicle Fanon Community Contest number 5. You can submit your entries for that. Rules and details document here. And you have a link to the contest submission on a public website, so you have to submit it publicly. You have to link breakdown photos or the studio file. This is required, so please do link that publicly. This is, if you used any custom 3D elements in your mock, please provide the download links as well, so obviously you need to put that. What is the best way to contact you if you win? So please, please, please answer this. We've gotten a few submissions before saying, you know who I am. We don't. We get like hundreds of entries. I mean, we probably know who you are, but don't do that. Like, please actually give us a link to who you are. So yeah, that would be really great, so we can actually contact you if you win, so we can ship you the prizes. And finally, this is something new for the contest, but is the mask on your mock intended to be a placeholder, yes or no? And we will dictate that in the document as well. In fact, placeholder mask, and I'll just say yes/no. So we'll just put that down below so people know if your mask is a placeholder or not. With that, we've basically summed up pretty much just how to enter. And I think it's time to distribute the prizes. There is one final thing. Oh, the schedule. Let's talk about the schedule first. You've got 3 weeks. This should actually say March 4th. So about 3 weeks. I think it's like 2.5 now, but it's basically around 3 weeks for an open entry period. I know a lot of folks have been preparing for this in advance, so that's why it's not as long as some other entry periods, because we've been talking on the Duckbricks Discord about running this since the beginning of the year and even before that. So hopefully people knew that this was coming already, and this is just kind of an initial thing to launch stuff. You do have to submit your entries at the Google form, and they close at 11:59 p.m. EST on March 22nd. We've given us a couple of days to review. If something drastic goes wrong, or if I'm, for example, really busy on these days, maybe we'll give it more time. Or maybe some people will help me out and we'll get these done in 2 days. From there, we have a voting form, or voting period, about 2 weeks. Really depends on how many entries we get in, how many semifinals, finals, and quarterfinals we have to do, but it's probably going to be leading us up to the beginning of April. April 7th, again, very approximate date. Things could shift around in the contest, but here's the approximate schedule, is going to be the winner announcement, and that's when prizes will be shipped out, and we hope to be running the next contest very soon, and we actually have a schedule for the next contest at the bottom of this below. So let's just take a look at that right now before we get into the prizes. Okay, so the last section is the future contest schedule. This is subject to change quite a lot. Things have been changing a lot, but the next contest is tentatively going to be the Golden Skinned Being. We ran a poll before, and it was almost a 50-50 split between people who wanted to keep the Golden Skinned Being as the next contest or people who wanted to do something else. The people who wanted to do something else barely won out, and Toa Nidhiki was the winner of that sub-poll, which is why we are doing Toa Nidhiki, but there was such a high demand to run a GSB contest that we are going to be potentially running it next. However, I want to wait for the brand new gold sockets from LEGO Ninjago to be added to LEGO Pick-a-Brick, just to make it so it's cheaper for everybody else to build their mocks. So if LEGO doesn't put the gold sockets by May or June, they should, because they said it takes about 6 months, 5 to 6 months to add something to Pick-a-Brick once something comes out. It came out in January, it should be there around May or June. I literally will just sit and wait for them to appear. If we get to June and they haven't appeared yet, we'll do something else. But that is generally going to be the plan. I just want to make sure people will actually be able to get the pieces they need to run the contest. And from there, we were thinking of maybe having a filler fun contest, a Rahi free-for-all, where you can either submit an entry based off of any one of these Rahi that we have never gotten a depiction for before, or literally just make your own and submit your own backstory and your own Rahi. So it's going to be super fun, super free-for-all. We're going to have a lot of fun with this one. It's going going to be kind of a quote-unquote filler contest after 2 important big character contests. And from there, we're going to go through the Yesterday Questers, Ord, Kiara, and Zarya. We're going to have 3 contests in a row for that. A filler contest for, I guess, the Energized Protodermis entity. I think that'd be pretty fun. Then we're going to get into Merendar. That's probably going to be 2024. Maybe the end of 2024 or middle of 2024. Some more filler contests. A Toa Mangai contest, which we still need to figure out how on earth we're going to run this with the rules, so if you have suggestions, let us know. Some Matoran contests, and we have a ton of other characters from Bakuda Tridax to the unmutated Baraki. This is probably my most anticipated contest, but I've asked around, it doesn't seem like people are that interested in it, but comment down below if you actually want to see this, because I personally really want to see this, but I'd love to hear what other people think. Moving on, we have some other contests going on. When it gets this late, things are going to shift around quite a lot, so we'll see from there, and with that we have summed up the rules and regulations for this Toa Nidhiki contest, and I think it's time to finally get into the prizes. One final note is that I will mention in the prizes that I was waiting for a certain item to arrive. That was the Tahu and Takua GWP. I got an extra one, and I was hoping if it arrived on time, then maybe we could use it as a prize. It has indeed arrived on time, so yes, we will be getting it as a prize. So hooray, that will be a special prize, and you can see the document to see exactly which place is going to get the prize. So that is going to be very exciting, and let's get into it right now. Okay, but now it's time to get into the prizes. And for this prizes announcement, we are going to be doing things a little bit differently than other contests, where you will actually see me revealing the prizes on camera right now as this video premieres, because I actually was able to get the prizes in on time before launching the contest. And so, our 4th place winner will be receiving 4 random masks from my Duckbricks Big Cartel store. These are either going to be resin printed or regular 3D printed. Here is a selection of some random masks that may or may not be included in the random mask selection here, but essentially you can check that out in the description below. No, I am not nearly as good at resin printing or making Bionicle pieces as many of the other creators out there because I use a resin printer and I do not do resin casting, but it's a good prize for any potential winners. The 4th place winner will get a choice of random ones, and you know what? Message me if you really want something. I'll see if I can make it happen. No guarantees, but you know, if you win 4th place, do message me and I will see what I can do to give you a type of mask that you do actually want. So we can see different selections of just random masks from the store right here. We have quite a nice selection of different types of pieces here and there. But now it's time to go into some of the other stuff for the 4th place prize. Zion Tyros Custom Wares has provided us with a few special, exclusive Bionicle recolors and LEGO related items that all tie into the Nidhiki contest. Here you can see an assortment of different crystals and Zammer spheres and an eye stalk. These are all donated by Zion Tyros Custom Wares. Thank you so much for sending these in. Look at these. These are so cool. We have a transparent purple crystal-like piece that originated from the LEGO City space sets, but this time it has been cast in a blend between trans purple and this metallic green. It is a really cool looking color. You can see the gemstones on the inside as well. Big fan of this piece and how it's done. We also get a Chima Chi Energy Crystal in a glitter transparent purple blend. That is a really nice piece. A lot of these can be cool detail pieces for mocks or any sort of other stuff. Obviously compatible with minifigures, but there you go. And you have a straight up transparent green Power Miners Crystal here as well. This was the piece that originated in LEGO Aquazone, but of course you can see it right here in trans green. That does look really nice. And of course, for the Bionicle related items for 4th place, you will be receiving a special transparent green 2008 eye stalk, also provided by Zion Tyros Custom Wares, so thank you so much for sending this in. And wow, that looks really good. It almost feels just like an original LEGO piece. I am so impressed with the quality of the resin casting here, and it just looks so good. You can use it pretty easily for any sort of Metro eye stalk. Lastly, there is a special blend of a Zammer sphere. It is a blend of transparent green and transparent metallic green, if I can prevent it from keeping on rolling around. It looks really good. It definitely does have a very unique feel to it, and we never really got this darker green color of a Zammer sphere before, so this absolutely feels very special. But then moving on, it's time to announce what will be the prize for the 3rd place winner. So the 3rd place winner will not only be also getting all of the specialized 4 different random Duckbricks store pieces, where you can see just a selection of different masks here and there on camera right here. You'll just be getting random ones from my store. You will also be getting another set of specialized pieces, a few more this time for the third place winner, which is going to be these from Zion Tyro's Custom Wares. First of all, you have a different set of crystals this time. The third place winner gets things that are a little bit more special. You have a fully transparent green crystal from the Lego City Space stuff. You have a nice transparent purple with a metallic blend crystal. That looks so cool in the light for the Chima Chi crystal. And then, of course, you have a transparent purple, as well as a slightly metallic or speckle type look to it for the Power Miners Aqua Zone crystal. You'll also be getting one of the 2008 eye stocks from Zion Tyro's Custom Wares. That looks wonderful here. Plus, 2 Zammer spheres. One of them is a nice metallic green reflective sphere right here. It is a very unique color. And the other one is more of an evil looking blend. Maybe this is a pure anti-dermis one. Who knows what you want to call it, but it is a transparent red and black mixed Zammer sphere, which looks like it would fit in right with the zombie contest, actually. Maybe I should have had him send me this one early. Lastly, we have a really nice speckled transparent blue Rotuka spinner. This absolutely will add a lot of pop to any creations using the Rotuka spinner itself, and it's a really, really fun one to use, so definitely very happy to have gotten this from Zion Tyro's Custom Wares for the third place prize. And one last thing I do want to mention before we move on from the third and fourth places. There is a chance, if items get here on time, no guarantees, but there's a chance we may have a couple extra GWP Tahoos. I don't want to guarantee that in this video because I thought they would come on time. They have been delayed, but if I get them on time, then we'll see if we can scatter them in. If not for this contest, then the next. Moving on from this though, it's now time to go for the big ones, to announce the grand prizes, and we are doing something a little bit more unique this time, where we actually are giving the first place winner a choice between 2 different prizes, and the second place winner will be getting the leftover from the 2. And so, Resin Casters, Zion Tyro, as well as Nate Tromino, you can check out their links in the description below, have actually collaborated to bring us 2 very unique Volatac masks that absolutely represent the essence of Toa Nidhiki. One of the Volatacs here, this one is by Zion Tyro's Custom Wares. This is the official piece from the set. It is dual molded in silver and transparent green. Looks absolutely stunning and fantastic. I'm a big, big fan of how this turned out with the metallic silver printing transitioning into transparent green. So this is one choice. It is a pure resin cast of the original mask, and looks absolutely fantastic. This is just so good. It is clearly the original Lego piece. It has a transparent green look, and it's a really good thing to be able to add to your Toa Nidhiki. Obviously, whoever's submitting the mock probably has a favorite mask of theirs already, but this is a really nice one to be able to add onto it if you want to just swap it out and see how it looks, or make your own custom mock from this. The other option is the mask from King K. This is produced by Nate Tromino, and this is the in-aquatic version of the Volatac. It basically removes the breathing tube and the extra attachments for tubes, and strips it right down back to basics with a blend between silver and dark green this time. So while the previous one was a blend with silver and lighter transparent green, this is a blend with silver and dark green, almost as like an aquamarine color. And this also looks really great. I like how the look and feel of the metallic silver is very different for this mask compared to the other one. It almost feels like an explosion of color fading outwards to the darker green. Wonderful, wonderful work by Nate. You can check out his mask shop down in the description below. Again, these are just phenomenal pieces of art, and the first place winner will get to choose which one they want, if they want the official set version or if they want the custom version by King K. Both of them are really good. It really just depends on what you want to do with it, and that choice is up to the first place winner. So I will be contacting them to figure out which ones they want, of course, once the winning announcement takes place, and the second place winner will get which one is left. So honestly, both of these are just so good. The reason why I have it set up like this is because I couldn't decide which should be first or second. I felt like it was unfair for the mask makers to have to say, okay, well, one of them's first and one of them's second, or first and second. And so I figured, you know what? Let's let the winner decide, because I feel like these are on an equal playing field. Usually we have one really good and really exciting mask per contest. It's the grand prize. Well, this time we have 2 grand prizes, but they just get to be enjoyed by 2 different people. But in addition to that, there is one more prize item that the first place winner will get, and this is probably the most exciting item to me. And this is a special dual molded produced by Zion Tyro's Custom Wares. It is a dual molded Nidhiki claw or staff element. This obviously was a piece that kind of was originating as the Staff of Light, but obviously was used for Nidhiki's claws in his particular set, which is a really nice callback to Nidhiki himself, and it is dual molded in transparent green and silver. This has been done by Zion Tyro's Custom Wares. I love how it almost looks corrupted to an extent. You have little rivets of silver running in through the transparent green part. It's a beautiful piece. I would love to see if you have like a scythe build for Nidhiki. Whoever wins can maybe swap this out and see what this piece looks like under camera for the observation of this particular mock. I think it's wonderful, and the first place winner will be getting a copy of this fantastic dual molded blade piece. In addition, much like all of the other contests, the first place winner will be getting a commission from me, where you can commission any sort of mask that you want. You name it. If there is a 3D model in existence out there, I will make it and send it over to you. We have a pretty wide selection of different stuff. As you can see, this is just barely scratching the surface of the kinds of things that we can offer on the Duckbrick store. So if there is a Bionicle piece that you really want, that you just don't have, that exists in a certain color, or you want to get it in a particular color, let me know and we will work that out. Otherwise, we have about summed up the prizes for the Toa Nidhiki Fanon contest. Once again, huge thank you to the community for being able to come together and provide us such amazing prizes for this particular contest. I am continually blown away, absolutely blown away by the innovation and the creativity that comes out of community members when coming up with prizes for these contests. They are so much more talented than me. Please go check them out in the descriptions below, because this is beyond anything I could ever hope to produce. I mean, in my lifetime. I tried resin casting once. It's hard. I dumped a lot of money into it and I was not successful, and I'm so happy that there are so many talented people out there in the community who are able to do this, because it's just so impressive. And so, we have announced the prizes for the contest. Again, big thank you to Zion Tyro's Custom Wares, as well as Nate Tromino for actually producing these parts. And now, let the games begin. Alright, and with that we have summed up all of the contest rules and of course the prizes for the Toa Nidhiki Fanon contest. Big thank you to everybody who has submitted or donated prizes before to these contests, and especially to Nate Tromino. Do go check out his store in the description below and all his links, as well as Zion Tyro's Custom Wares, also linked below. If you want to see more of what they do, they're amazing. The products that they make are just so good. They feel like real Lego pieces. It is absolutely mind-blowing the amount of quality they're able to get. So big thank you for continuing to donate to these contests. It really does mean a lot. And one last thing I do want to mention is that I got so excited because just a few days ago, actually the previous winner of contest number 4, Bonkle Chaser, who made basically a big zombie for the Red Star Zombie contest, was able to use his prize mask, the black and transparent red molded Trina, Matoro's mask, in kind of a reimagination of Matoro as a zombie. That was so cool. I'm really glad to see the prize mask being used in mocks and seeing people use them in unique ways. That's really one of my favorite things about running these contests, is not just the contests themselves, but also seeing what people do with the prizes. So super cool stuff. Do go check that out as well. I've linked his account in the description below. And with that, we've summed up our look at the Nidhiki contest. It's Nidhikin time, so go down, send in your entries. Again, you have 2.5 weeks, I think. I made it 2.5 weeks this time. Usually it's only 2, but I wanted to give people more time in case it's the first time they've heard of this contest. So again, 2.5 weeks to vote, to submit, 2.5 weeks to submit, upon which voting period will start. So I can't wait to see you there. Submit your entries down below, and thanks so much for tuning in. Bye for now.